Coffee. More than just a drink, it's a ritual, a comfort, and for many, an absolute necessity. But have you ever wondered how these tiny beans transform into that rich, bold, and delicious cup you can't live without? Today, we're taking you on an incredible journey from the coffee farms to your mug. Trust me, by the end of this video, you'll never look at your morning coffee the same way again. Let's start at the very beginning, the roots of coffee itself. Coffee comes from a plant called coffee, and it grows in what's known as the coffee belt, a tropical region around the equator covering Latin America, Africa, and parts of Asia. These trees need the perfect mix of altitude, temperature, and rainfall to thrive. The coffee beans we use are actually the seeds of these cherries, and picking them at just the right moment, that's where the expertise of coffee farmers comes in. Each cherry must be perfectly ripe. Too soon and the coffee will be too acidic, too late, and it will be overly bitter. Some farms handpick each cherry to ensure only the best make it through. Others use machines to harvest large quantities at once. But for the finest coffee, handpicking is the gold standard. Once harvested, the coffee cherries have to be processed right away to prevent spoilage. There are two main methods, the washed process and the natural process. In the washed process, the outer fruit is removed using water, and the beans are fermented to develop their flavors. This method gives the coffee a clean, bright taste with crisp acidity. Then there's the natural process. Here, the cherries are dried whole, allowing the beans to absorb the natural sugars from the fruit. This creates a sweeter, fruitier coffee with a more complex body. Once dried, the beans, now called parchment coffee, are hulled, sorted, and graded. The best ones make it to the next stage, roasting. Before roasting, coffee beans are green, hard, and have almost no smell. But apply heat, and things start to get really interesting. Roasting is where science and art collide. As the temperature rises, the beans undergo the Maillard reaction, a chemical process that creates those deep, rich flavors we all love. Light roasts have bright, citrusy flavors, medium roasts strike a balance with caramel and nutty notes, and dark roasts, think bold, smoky, and chocolatey. The roast profile determines the final taste of your coffee. Roasters listen for a popping sound called the first crack, a sign that the beans are expanding and releasing gases. This helps determine the roast level. Now it's time to grind. And here's a pro tip. Your grind size really matters. Different brewing methods need different grind sizes to extract the best flavors. Brewing is an art. Whether you love a slow, rich pour-over or a strong espresso shot, the way you brew makes a huge difference in taste. Once the beans are roasted, they need to be packed immediately to lock in freshness. Oxygen is coffee's worst enemy. It makes the beans go stale faster. That's why premium coffee brands use airtight, one-way valve bags that let carbon dioxide escape while keeping oxygen out. From here, coffee is shipped all over the world. Some beans travel directly to cafes and specialty roasters, while others end up on grocery store shelves, waiting for you to take them home. But here's something to think about. Coffee is one of the most globally traded commodities. It connects farmers in remote villages to cafes in bustling cities. Every bag of coffee has a story. But what about the people behind your coffee? Millions of farmers rely on coffee as their livelihood, but not all of them are paid fairly. That's where sustainability and fair trade come in. Look for certifications like Fair Trade and Rainforest Alliance. These ensure that farmers get fair wages, work in safe conditions, and follow eco-friendly farming practices. Did you know that coffee can also be grown in a way that helps the environment? Shade-grown coffee protects biodiversity, reduces deforestation, and supports local wildlife. As coffee lovers, we can make a difference too. Choosing sustainable brands, using reusable cups, and reducing waste all help protect the future of coffee. Coffee isn't just a drink, it's a global experience. Different cultures have their own unique ways of enjoying coffee. No matter where you go, coffee has a way of bringing people together. Whether it's a quick espresso or a slow, mindful brew, it's all about Let's talk about one of the most debated topics. Is coffee actually good for you? Well, science has some exciting answers. Boosts brain function. Caffeine improves focus, memory, and reaction time. That's why so many people reach for coffee in the morning. Rich in antioxidants. Coffee is loaded with antioxidants that help fight inflammation and protect cells from damage. May lower disease risk. Studies show that coffee drinkers have a lower risk of diseases like Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, and even type 2 diabetes. Supports heart health. Moderate coffee consumption has been linked to a lower risk of heart disease. But here's the key: moderation. Too much caffeine can lead to jitters, sleep issues, and increased heart rate. Experts recommend sticking to around 3 to 4 cups a day for the best benefits. What's your daily coffee intake? Let us know in the comments. Now let's bust some of the biggest coffee myths you've probably heard. This one is false. While caffeine is a mild diuretic, the water content in coffee more than makes up for it. So yes, coffee does hydrate you. Surprise! Light roasts actually have more caffeine than dark roasts. The longer beans are roasted, the more caffeine burns off. So if you need a strong caffeine kick, go for a lighter roast. Nope, there's no scientific evidence that coffee affects growth in any way. This myth probably started as a way to discourage kids from drinking coffee. Espresso is concentrated, but in total caffeine content, a full cup of drip coffee usually has more caffeine than a single shot of espresso. It's all about volume. What's the biggest coffee myth you've heard? Tell us below. Have you ever noticed how a good cup of coffee can supercharge your creativity and productivity? It's not just in your head, there's science behind it. Caffeine stimulates the brain by blocking adenosine, the chemical that makes you feel tired. This leads to increased dopamine and adrenaline, which help you feel alert and focused. That's why so many creatives, from writers to musicians, swear by coffee as their go-to inspiration booster. Cafes also provide the perfect balance of background noise and social energy, which studies show can actually enhance creativity. So the next time you need to power through work, brainstorm ideas, or just find a creative spark, a cup of coffee might be your secret weapon. What's your favorite coffee-fueled activity? Let us know in the comments. And that's the incredible world of coffee. How it's made, how it affects our health, and why it's so much more than just a drink. If you enjoyed this deep dive, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and tell us, what's your favorite way to enjoy coffee? Espresso, cold brew, something unique? Drop a comment below.